Hi, it's YYC Athletes with Zeke. In this channel, we'll get to know more about your favorite Calgary athletes. Please subscribe. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of YYC Athletes with me, your host, Zeke. Today we are very fortunate to have one of Calgary's best basketball players. He is what you call a triple threat in the basketball court. He can shoot the lights out of the gym, he can pass, and he can blow by defenders quite easily. He is currently playing his rookie season for the University of Alberta Golden Bears, who will be playing in and hosting the 2022 University Sports Championship Final 8 this coming April 1st. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to welcome our guest for today, Bryce Solis. Bryce, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good.
Bryce, really appreciate your time for today. I know you're busy preparing for the Final 8, so we'll just get right to it. Uh, our first question basically is, where did your basketball story start?
That's a great question. So, I started playing basketball in Ireland, actually. My
Ireland.
parents, yeah, my parents, I'm originally from the Philippines, born in Manila,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad got a job in Ireland, so we moved our whole family over to Ireland. And so that was where I first started playing basketball, and I started by watching my dad play in the Filipino
Mm-hmm.
leagues on
Yeah.
Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll watch him play, and I was the little guy in the sideline dribbling the basketball and just like watching and taking in all like the games on that
Mm-hmm.
day. Um, Eventually I started getting interested in playing in like a team.
Mm-hmm.
So we joined the basketball club in Ireland, and then from there my dad was my first coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember I wasn't the best player on my team at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad would make me like dribble in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
just start
Nice.
practicing my handle, and then we would go outside and we would shoot all the time.
Uh-huh.
Um,
So
and that's how I
so it
really
all
got
started
better.
it all started in Ireland basically.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
uh
I would.
but you learn from your dad, like when he's playing
mm,
on Filipino dads. They
Yeah,
usually have their leagues on a weekend. Uh
exactly,
So
exactly.
you're that kid running around the basketball court, and you're just that little kid, and then you got into it, and then you started getting really curious and interested, and you started playing in the teams and clubs in Ireland.
Mhm.
Do you remember your first actual basketball game in Ireland?
Yeah, actually, my first ever basketball game, my dad was recording it,
Uh-huh.
and he got my first basket on camera, actually.
Wow.
But I remember the jersey was too big for me, and I was really small. I was the only Asian player on the court, right? I
Uh-huh.
was a
Yeah.
I was a minority over there, so
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of Filipinos, let alone
Mm-hmm.
Asians.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first game, I remember I wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
So my first ever basket was like a rebound putback or something like that. And I
There
remember
you go.
I got so excited I was clapping after I scored. So, but that was the first of many, and
Well, at
I just
least you
never
didn't
looked
shoot
back.
it on the other basket.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So that you had your first basketball game. When did you realize that basketball is your sport?
Um, Actually, I didn't realize until I was, I'd say, like 12 years old that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to play basketball. My first, like, the sport that I really wanted to play growing up
Hmm.
was rugby, actually.
Rugby.
Yeah,
It's
because
because
in
it's a
Ireland,
popular game in Ireland, popular
yeah,
sport in Ireland.
Ireland rugby is huge. Like everyone plays
Mm-hmm.
it. Ireland is very
Mm-hmm.
good at rugby. So I wanted to be like the first Filipino rugby player to play on the Irish
Mm-hmm.
national team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but eventually, like me and my dad started training a lot. We would
Mm-hmm.
train so much, like it was like 2 times a day. One
Mm-hmm.
time before school, we would get shots up, and then after school, after doing all my homework, we'd get shots up again. So I think the repetition of just
Yeah.
doing the 2 days and just keep playing basketball, it made me realize I was better at basketball than rugby. So when I was 12 years old, I quit rugby and I
Mm-hmm.
just focused everything on basketball.
But that was still in Ireland, right?
That was still in Ireland, yeah.
So when you were growing up in Ireland and your dad was teaching you basketball, was he showing you clips of Filipino or the PBA?
Actually, no, he wasn't.
No?
He wasn't showing me a lot of PBA clips. Like I heard stories and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would be like, "Yeah, I used to watch the PBA back in the day," but he was more of an NBA fan.
Oh, I
Um,
see.
yeah, he loved the Spurs. So,
So back
growing
then it
up,
would have been who would that be? Duncan or Robinson? David Robinson for the
yeah,
Spurs?
well, he was a fan when Tim Duncan was like the leader of
Oh,
the team. So actually, growing up, my favorite player was Tony Parker.
Tony
That's why I wear number
Parker.
9. Yeah, that's why I wear
I
number
see.
9 on the court.
I see.
Yeah.
So your dad loved the NBA, and of course, as the son, he would also start watching the games that he would play, and he was following the Spurs. And then
Mhm.
you had the liking to the game of Tony Parker. What? Why did you like Tony Parker when you were a kid?
Mhm. I wasn't always the tallest growing up,
Mm-hmm.
so I always looked for people like, the same height as me or someone that
Mm-hmm.
was like smaller than everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen like Tony Parker, the way he plays, it's he doesn't let his height affect him, right?
Yeah.
Tony Parker's only like 6 foot tall,
Yeah.
yet he's going against like the likes of like Tim Duncan and stuff like that, and he's
Mm-hmm.
very effective. He was very fast too, and I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
a fast player. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried modeling my game after Tony Parker.
Oh, that's great. So, how would you sum up your basketball start in Ireland?
Basketball in Ireland is it's not popular at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the main sport. The main sport in Ireland is definitely rugby and soccer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, um, if you were good at basketball, you were like, they were just like, what? Why did you pick that sport?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the main thing you do. Because of that, like, I was probably one of the best players in Ireland before I
Mm-hmm.
moved to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would say the sport is growing over there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of good talent. I still have my
Mm-hmm.
friends there, all still playing. I'm not sure if you know Cholo Aninnuevo. He
Yeah.
plays on
He
FEU.
plays. Yeah. Yeah. He plays
Plays
FEU. FEU.
Yeah.
He was just in the
We
States,
actually,
right?
yeah, he was just in the States. He's back now, in the Philippines playing. But we used to play against each other all the time in
Mm-hmm.
Ireland.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
there was like it was called Intercity Sports Fest. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
Filipino sports fest,
Mm-hmm.
and this was back we were both 11 years old.
Uh-huh.
We would play against each other all the time. We were both really good actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Who do you think it would be? Who would say is better during that time?
uh, I don't know what that Cholo grew like crazy. I don't know. He's like 6 something right now.
Uh-huh.
But I would still say I got it. I got it over him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Cholo, that's
nice.
my guy.
Solo, like playing for the Tamaras right now. They just played their first game in the UAAP, season 84. So cool.
Mhm.
So that's your uh, career in Ireland, basically. Then you moved to Canada, as you mentioned. When did you move to
Mhm.
Canada, Bryce?
I moved to Canada in grade 7.
When did you start playing high school basketball in Canada?
I started playing high school basketball when I was grade 10, so I think I was 15, 16 years old. I
Mm-hmm.
was playing on like the top varsity team
Mm-hmm.
at Bishopburn High School.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, there was no other there. I was the first ever grade 10 to play on the varsity team at Bishopburn.
Mm-hmm. Was that the junior team or the senior team?
That was a senior team.
Also, at grade 10, you were already playing for the senior
Yeah,
team of Bishop
yeah,
O'Byrne.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. How was your experience playing for Bishop O'Byrne? Like you're the new kid from Ireland, and then you get,
Yeah,
you know, immersed
yeah, yeah.
in the Calgary style of basketball. How did you find that?
Well, I would definitely say that Canadian basketball is a lot better than Irish basketball for sure. The game
Mm-hmm.
is a lot quicker. The players are a lot taller. They're all faster. Um, I remember when I first moved, actually, in grade seven.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember the practices that I was playing in. They were so much more intense. You needed to be way more
Mm-hmm.
conditioned,
Mm-hmm.
which was good. And I definitely became a better player over here.
Mm-hmm.
In grade 10, when I made senior team
Yeah.
in Bishop O'Byrne, um, I told you earlier it was the first I was the first person in the school to do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough because everyone was so much taller than me.
Yeah.
I think I was like 5'10" at the time. I wasn't
Uh-huh.
very tall. Um, and I was very skinny, but
Yeah.
I could shoot the basketball, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what my coach wanted me to do. So, um, because I could shoot, I would play a lot of minutes.
Did you
Um,
start right away?
I did not start. No, in grade 10, I did not start.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming off the bench, probably sixth, seventh man.
Okay.
Um, but I did get a lot of rotation. I was seeing the court a lot. Um, I was with Alonzo Tan. I'm not sure if you know Alonzo.
Yep. Yeah. He plays for the Fighting Maroons now.
Yeah, we were like the backcourt duo,
Mm-hmm.
and we would just like pest teams on defense because we were the
Yeah.
two fastest. Um, but it was tough. Like definitely my teammates were hard on me.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Just being
being just
just
grade
being
10 senior team,
yeah,
right? That must have been
yeah,
tough.
because our
Uh,
team was good. Our
yeah.
team was good. We won the city championship that year.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, on your first year with
yeah.
the team, you won right away.
Hmm. So the teammates were hard on me, but it
Mm-hmm.
was good. It was a great experience. I honestly, I would looking back, I would say that like being thrown in that situation
Mm-hmm.
where I have to play people older than me that are better
Yes.
than me, it made me play up to that level.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I got more experience and just made me a better player.
What would you say was your most memorable game in your grade 10 for Bishop Auburn?
My most memorable game was definitely the city finals in grade
Mm-hmm.
10.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I had like 7 or 9 points that game,
Mm-hmm.
but I just remember like that was the first time I've seen like a crowd like that.
Mm-hmm.
The stands
Where
were
did you
packed.
play?
We played at University of Calgary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We played in that gym. So both teams, we played against Sir Winston Churchill. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the crowd was crazy. It was loud, it was hectic, and I thrive with that
Yeah.
environment. So that was my most memorable game.
Well, being a rookie, coming from a different country, and then playing your first season, you play for you get to the finals right away. That must have been really, that's nerve-wracking, but also exciting for a young player, especially like you. So you said you scored 9 points and you won, right?
Yeah, we won.
Yeah. Yeah. And so after that season, grade 11, how did you play? How was your performance after like getting your feet wet in grade 10?
Yeah, definitely grade 11 was my breakout year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I had great teammates.
Mm-hmm.
We were a great team. We were actually ranked number one in the province in grade 11 for
Mm-hmm.
most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, grade 11, I just broke out. I was playing. Um, I was a starter, so I was playing big
Mm-hmm.
minutes, and I'm
Yeah.
not really sure what I averaged, but I know it
Mm-hmm.
was probably more than 15 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, like just learning from what I learned in grade 10
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and playing against these bigger guys the next year, I just like it was like I was like on a different level. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was faster, I was smarter, I was
Mm-hmm.
stronger, and I was definitely more prepared, right? That
Yeah.
because usually you don't play you only play 2 years of senior varsity.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. But you
but
started early.
since I played three, I got that extra year of like
Yeah.
of experience, and it did help me out a lot.
start of our interview, you mentioned that it was your dad who really like was your first coach. Did you move with him to Calgary?
Yeah, I did. So from Ireland, my dad got another job
The reason
again.
why I ask is I wanted to know was he still coaching you at that time, or how was his involvement in your basketball game when you got here in
Um,
Canada?
that's a great question. Actually, in Ireland, as I mentioned before, he was my first coach, and he pretty much coached
Mm-hmm.
me throughout my time in Ireland
Mm-hmm.
because he was really the only guy that like followed basketball. Like basketball
Mm-hmm.
is not that big over there,
Yeah.
so he was probably the most knowledgeable guy, and because of that, he was my coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, here when I went to Canada, um, there was a lot of coaches here, and they were all good. They all had
Yeah.
experience. Uh, so my dad decided to like take a step back from coaching, and he didn't coach me again when I was in
Uh-huh.
Canada. He was just more of like a trainer to me. Like we would get
Mm-hmm.
shots up.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that, even though he was not coaching you anymore, he was still there around you. He must have been
Yeah.
so proud seeing, you know, you excelling in basketball here
Mhm.
in Calgary. Hi everyone, this is Zeke from YYC Athletes. Thank you for making it this far in the video. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I did in creating it. I spent a lot of my time and effort in creating the videos, from scouting the athletes, scheduling with them, creating their highlights, doing the actual interview, and edit the video after, just so we can get to know them more. So thank you very much for your support. Thank you for taking the time to watch the videos. I would also really appreciate if you can hit that subscribe button so you can help me reach my goal of having 1,000 subscribers at the end of the year. Again, thank you for watching. Let's go back to the video. Going back to your grade 11 story or grade 11 season, where you said it was your breakout year, you probably average around 15 points a game. How was the season? Where did the team go? Did they go to the championship again, or?
We played 4 tournaments that year,
Mm.
and I think 3 out of the 4 tournaments we won. So we
Mhm.
were fantastic in the regular
Powerhouse.
season. Yeah, we were really, really good. Um, and then we hit playoffs, and we unfortunately lost in the semifinals to
Mm-hmm.
Western Canada High School.
Mm-hmm.
And then in provincials, we lost to Cardston from Southern
Mm-hmm.
Alberta.
Yeah.
So we didn't make it to the city finals or the provincial finals that year. So that was kind of
Mm-hmm.
a bummer. But we did have a really good regular season.
Mm-hmm. And did you get any awards in grade 11?
Mm, Um, I think one of the tournaments I won, I got MVP of the tournament.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was really a breakout season then.
Yeah.
After a rookie season at grade 10, next season an MVP award. So that's great. Moving on to grade 12 now. How was it? It's the final season
Um,
for Bryce Solis. Uh, how did you prepare for that season, and how did the season go?
so grade 12, I knew that I had like big expectations
Mm-hmm.
just from like the previous
Yeah.
year. We did really good, and I had a breakout
Yeah.
year, as I said.
Yeah.
Um, I got my first offer in grade 12 at this before the season started.
Even before the season
Um,
started.
yeah, before the season started, I had my visit to Mount Royal University,
Okay.
and then I got a phone call from the U of A coach prior to the season starting.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew those were probably the top 2 schools. And
Mm-hmm.
then when the season actually happened, I had more interest from other Canadian universities.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, heading into the season, I knew we needed to do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had a really slow start to the
Yeah.
year. Actually, we lost
Mm-hmm.
like big time to Bishop McNally,
Mm-hmm.
and after that, we decided to like have some team meetings and then really
Mm-hmm.
like think about like why are we doing this? We're way more talented. Um, that team I had in grade 12 was probably the most talented team.
Yeah.
Um, in my 3 years, like we were unreal. Um, but for some reason, I don't know why, we just like we couldn't get it together at the start.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually we did get better. And then the next 2 times we played McNally, we beat them by 30 points each. So it
Drop
was a
them.
big turnaround, right? Um, how did that year go? So we lost again in the semifinals to Father Lacombe.
Oh, tough. Yeah.
Yeah, we played in their gym, and that was a crazy environment.
So the
I
Sir
still
Nation, they could get to
yeah
you.
yeah no, they're loud. They love their basketball over there. So
Hmm.
um, we lost in that game, and we were actually looking to make a huge run in provincials that year
Hmm.
because we thought that we had the talent.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, they canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, that happens. Big expectations to start or beginning of the year. Then you had a slow start. Then you got better, but then in the end you fell short. You lost to Father Lacombe. But still, I think overall, grade 12 was, it's your final season. Individually, how did you do?
Individually, I think I had a really great year that year.
Hmm.
Um, um, I got a couple MVP awards for the tournaments that we played at.
Hmm.
Uh, I definitely had some good highlights. Like I have
Hmm.
my little highlight video on YouTube
Yep.
from that year.
We're gonna play it.
Oh, yeah,
We're gonna play that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, timeline made this beat, bitch.
As you mentioned before the start of season of your final year for Bishop Auburn, you had a few phone calls already. You had a phone call from MRU, U of A, and a few other Canadian universities. Uh, I guess I have a two-part question. Uh, First part is why did you choose uh, U of A? Second part is did you get any calls from any universities from the Philippines?
Okay. So I chose University of Alberta because number one, the program here is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been in contention for nationals for like the last I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
many years, but Coach Barnaby is a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
He really instills confidence in you, and he really wants you to do the best. So when I went
Mm-hmm.
had my phone call with him, he laid out his plan for me, and he let me know like we're gonna do this, this, and this for you, and we want you to learn from Tyus Jefferson and some of my
Mm-hmm.
other teammates.
Yes.
Um, so I chose U of A because they had um, the best program, and also they had
Yep.
engineering.
Mm-hmm.
MRU unfortunately didn't have engineering, so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a program of my choice.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow.
why I chose U of A.
Sorry to cut you off. You mentioned engineering.
Mhm.
Being an athlete is hard in itself. But you also chose engineering as your field. How do you do that? Or why
Yeah,
engineering?
it's well, engineering. Both my parents are engineers, so I guess
Mm-hmm.
they just like got passed down to me.
I see.
But yeah, engineering. I've always loved like math and like science and physics. So in
Mm-hmm.
high school, I just knew I wanted to do engineering. Um, but it is tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the hardest major in
Mm-hmm.
university. Uh, Last year in online school was really a struggle for me because I we had
Mm-hmm.
practices and everything was online.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real gut check for me because didn't do as good in school as I thought I would
Mm-hmm.
do as I usually do. But slowly, like I'm getting more used to the load. I'm getting more used to the content, and
Mm-hmm.
things are starting to get easier and easier as I go forward throughout
It'll
my
be your
degree.
breakout season for studies
Yeah,
this year.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So you chose U of A because of the program, one of the best programs. I was doing my reading up before this interview, and it mentioned on the website that U of A has had 95 national championships in total ever since it joined the U Sports, and three of that came from the university, or sorry, from the men's basketball program. So which is amazing. Your last championship was in 2002, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess
Yeah.
it's not surprising for someone like you to go to that direction. So, well, thanks for the first question or the answer to my first part. The second part is,
Oh yeah.
did you
So
get any
I did not
calls
get any
from?
no, I did not get any interest from any Filipino schools.
Mhm. But if you had received any interest, would you be interested in,
Yeah, I would.
considering that route?
100%. I would definitely like take a look at
Mm,
like what they offer and what schools are like over there. Um, but I don't know. I there's something about Canadian schools
mm-hmm,
and just like Canadian like degrees. I'm a very education minded guy.
mm-hmm,
Like I believe like like the school over here is a little bit better than the schools in the
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Philippines.
Yeah,
So that would definitely play into my decision. But if I had interest from the Philippines, I would definitely take a look at it.
Bryce Solis, triple threat on the court, student first
Yeah,
outside the basketball court.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Of course, sports, it's what you love, but education is also important. It's so going back to the U of A now. So you chose to go with U of A because of the program and the the plan that the coach has for you. Uh, First season that you were supposed to start, it got canceled because of COVID. How was that for you?
Um, it was different. It was the first time that I've never had a basketball season
Mm-hmm.
because I was so used to just always like practicing every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because of COVID, obviously we couldn't practice. There was like lots and lots of lockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was more of like it was more of an education year. Like I had to focus on school and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. We still had practices and we still had workouts,
Mm-hmm.
but it's nowhere. It's not like this year where it's like almost every day. It was more
Yeah.
like every 2 days back last year.
Plus the fact that you moved from Calgary to Edmonton, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was that change in
Uh,
environment?
it was different. It was I missed my mom's cooking for sure. I missed all the Filipino food,
What's your
but
favorite Filipino food, Bryce?
oh, I love sinigang. That's my favorite.
Sinigang
Yeah,
na baboy.
yeah. All of them. I love all of
All of
them.
them.
But yeah, sinigang is my favorite. But it was different. It was different. Like moving here, it was the first time I lived by myself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I moved in with some of my teammates, and
Okay.
it was great.
So first season it got canceled because of COVID. That you took that time to work on the studies, student side of uh, university there. Uh, Now that you finally got the chance to play this season, how's the start for you?
I would say that this year is also is a learning year for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously I'm still a rookie, so I'm still learning from the veteran leaders of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's been something. It's been different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I'm not playing as much minutes as I used
Mm-hmm.
to play back in the day,
Yeah.
but um, that's something for me to learn from. A lot of the players in my team right now, they also went through the same thing as I'm going through,
Mm-hmm.
where they didn't get that much minutes in their first or second year,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden they become monsters in their later years. So I think it's just more of like taking as much learning as I can
Mm-hmm.
from friends and then applying that to my game. I
Yeah.
think that's where the real value is,
Mm-hmm. You
and that's what
mentioned
I learned from this.
earlier. You mentioned earlier the name Tyus Jefferson. He was recently named Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year,
Yeah,
right? How is it,
yeah.
learning from him or playing behind him?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that was initially when my coach Barnaby, he recruited me. He told me he wanted me to learn as much as I can from Tyus Jefferson, who was a point guard at that time, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll definitely say it's been crazy. Like Tyus is one hell of a player.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never had to guard someone that fast
Mm-hmm.
and on offense, he's just a monster, right? And on defense, he got Defensive Player of the Year, so he
Defensive
can
player of
lock
the
up
year.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can do literally everything. And I don't know, it's nice to know that I'm not the only person that he
Hmm.
does it too. You know, in practice he gives me buckets, whatever, but he also gives everyone else buckets. So I'm just trying to learn and be just like that.
What's his what's the biggest advice that you've gotten from Tyus so far?
Tyus is a great leader. I will
Hmm.
say that 100% for sure. He leads by example, and
Hmm.
like whatever he says, there's nothing that he says that he won't do. If he
Hmm.
wants to take a charge, he'll take a charge like
Yeah.
himself. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that I look up to him about. Like
Hmm.
he's definitely like on the court, he'll do whatever it takes to win.
Well, so you're fortunate to have someone like him in your rookie season, right?
Hmm.
But I'm just curious to know, since you played a lot in high school here in Calgary, and now you're playing for the U of A, you played for the Canada West Conference.
Hmm.
What's been the biggest difference between the basketball, high school basketball, and university basketball?
There's a huge jump, Zeke. It's very noticeable. Number one, in high school, players are just if you're scoring 40 a night in high school, you're don't expect to score 40 a night in college for your
Mm-hmm.
first year. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everyone is a lot quicker, everyone's a lot stronger, and everyone's just a lot smarter. Because if you're thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
like college players are the best of the best from high school. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So
Yes.
if you're just picking the best of the best from each high school and you put them all on one team, like that team's gonna be like crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
um, the jump is very noticeable in terms of skill. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be a lot more skill, a lot more technical, a lot more smart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's
You
just
used to
it's
the
different.
Are you used to the play calls now?
Yeah,
The
definitely. There's a lot more play calls. Like, that's for sure. Like you have to know like way more plays, and you have to know matchups, tendencies. We have
Mm-hmm.
film session every week where we
Mm-hmm.
look at our opponent and we see like where their weaknesses are, where we're gonna exploit that game,
Mm-hmm.
um, who's a shooter, who's not a shooter, who's gonna drive to the basket. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different level. It's like you go from not really taking it like as
Mm-hmm.
seriously to like taking it
Yeah.
super seriously in such a way. Yeah.
Well, definitely a big jump then
Mhm.
from just doing whatever you want to do in high school, basically,
Yeah.
to being more technical when it comes to the college brand of basketball. Let's
Mhm.
talk about your current season, Bryce. Right now, you're averaging 5.1 points per game, shooting 52.6% from the field and 56% from the 3-point uh, area.
Another one. Oh. And what?
As a rookie, sorry. What's your mindset going into a game?
Um, my mindset coming into the game is just trying to be as prepared as possible. You know, coach
Mm-hmm.
could put me in at any moment. If our team needs a big three, like I got to be ready. So just kind of staying locked in, um, and just making sure that I'm ready for any situation.
Mm-hmm. And now that, as I mentioned at the start, the UFA is hosting the 2022 U Sports Championship this coming April. How is the team preparing for that?
Um, Preparation started like all the way in August. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the national championships, like since we heard that we were hosting it,
Mm-hmm.
we've been preparing for it since the very first practice. So that's something we've been talking about. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
huge goal of ours to win that whole thing. So
Mm-hmm.
preparation didn't start 2 weeks ago. It started all the way to the start of the season. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Something we've been doing is definitely just like watching film. You
Mm-hmm.
know, all of us have access to the film of other teams that are going to be
Mm-hmm.
playing. So individually, we've all been going in, watching film, seeing each person's tendencies and seeing what we can exploit.
Bryce, I mean, it's been a great season so far for you and for U of A. I wish you all the best in the upcoming Final 8 of the U Sports. Before I let you go, Bryce, my question is, what is the main goal what's the dream of Bryce Solis in terms of basketball?
Definitely my goals for the rest of my career will definitely be just to make it to a Canada West All-Star team
Mm-hmm.
and win a national championship. We have the opportunity to do it this year.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to keep winning as much as I can because I love winning. But
Mhm.
after college, definitely want to try play pro somewhere. Maybe go back
Mhm.
to the Philippines to the PBA
Oh,
if the opportunity arises. But yeah, definitely I want to start playing basketball after I'm done here in college.
what about the engineering degree?
Oh yeah, yeah. So once I grab my engineering degree, um, it depends. If basketball, I can only play basketball for a certain amount of years.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and as long as my body tells me I'm all good, I'd love to
Mm-hmm.
keep playing basketball and
Yeah.
then go into engineering.
Mhm.
Um, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I'm sure those goals can be attained, especially for a hardworking, talented player like you, Bryce. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Did you want to have any shout out to anyone, your parents probably? Go for
Yeah,
it
for
and
sure.
invite people to watch the Golden Bears fight it out
Oh
for
yeah.
the national championship this coming April.
Yeah, so huge shout out to my family, my friends. All you guys are awesome. You guys pushed me to be the person I am today. Shout out to my dad, who literally got me into basketball from the very beginning.
Hmm.
If you're in the area in Edmonton, you guys better come out to Seville April 1st to 3rd. I'll watch some great basketball. It'll be the best basketball um, in Canada. So if you're in the area, Edmonton, April 1st to 3rd, you got to be there.
Uh, there you have it, everyone. Bryce Solis of the University of Alberta Golden Bears getting ready for the final 8 that's coming April 1st. Well, Bryce, really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your story with us today. This has been another episode of YYC Athletes with your host, Zeke. Thanks for watching.
Box out, box. Help, help.